Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch the new spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squad up in the comments as soon as a new video comes out. Alright, so continuing in our Dark Knight's Metal playlist, so far we kind of got a gist of where these Batmen are from and what they're about, with the exception of the Batman Who Laughs. And we've done our theories about where he may be from, and that's been pretty fun. But at this point, his true origin is still a mystery. And I feel like when we find his true origin, and also when we find out more about Barbados, like it's going to be this crazy revelation when it's all said and done. But with all the other characters that we've done spills on, the Drowned, the Devastator, Merciless, the only one whose origin has been revealed that I haven't done a video about is the Batman from Earth -44, and that's the Murder Machine. And as crazy as it sounds, this kind of may have worked out in a good way. Actually, I feel like it lined up pretty perfect, because throughout the Bats Out of Hell series that's still going on, and like I mentioned in the previous video, that's part of the tie-in to the Dark Knight's Metal, but in this Bats Out of Hell series, we explore the Batcaves of 4 of the Nightmare Batman. And we're going to dig a bit deeper into each of these, but like I said, I feel like it worked out great because Murder Machine and the Batman Who Laughs, they have a different task at the moment. And while the others are matched up 1-to-1, each inside of a different Batcave in different cities designed to kill their Earth Zero counterparts, the Batman Who Laughs is working with Murder Machine and they're doing an experimentation with the Cyborg of Earth Zero. And like in a very Freddy Krueger-y kind of way, the Batman Who Laughs is essentially doing an experiment on Cyborg from Earth Zero just to see how he reacts to the horrors of the dark multiverse. And that's going to be pretty much why, while we're talking about the 4 different Batcaves, the reason why we're not talking about a Batcave for the Batman Who Laughs or for Murder Machine is because they're conducting this experiment. And also, we don't know if eventually the Batman Who Laughs and Murder Machine will get their own Batcaves. For one, I don't see it happening with Murder Machine because he's more of a watchtower kind of guy. I don't think he's really going to do the cave thing. And as far as the Batman Who Laughs, his one-on-one will more likely be with the actual Earth Zero Batman later on. And so now, contrary to what most would think, the rest of the Justice League, they weren't just hanging out in Gotham City, twiddling their thumbs, just waiting on the next thing to do. But in Dark Knight's Metal issue number 3, we see a number of the heroes which Dr. Fate has grabbed and hidden so they can kind of put their heads together and figure this out. Green Arrow points out that these Batmen are vulnerable to nth metal. But the problem with that is you can't just run down to Publix and get you 4 for $20 because it's mad rare. And fortunate enough, they already have some, like you got Dr. Fate's helmet, you got Steel's hammer, and you also have Plastic Man's egg. But outside of that, you have other deposits of nth metal. I want to say 7 to be exact, possibly counting those 3 and 4 others. But that number 7 has had a very heavy emphasis on it, and it's also the number of Nightmare Batman. And I really feel like that number 7 is the total for everything, because you have 1, Dr. Fate's helmet, and then after that, number 2, you got Steel's hammer. 3 is going to be your Plastic Man egg, which Batman got a hold of before he was sent to the Dark Multiverse. How exactly? Nobody knows at this point. But Dr. Fate and the remaining heroes have it in their possession now, where it's vibrating and giving them the location to the other nth metals. And Mr. Terrific's been deciphering these locations, and from there it's pretty much because of him that we find out there's a 4th one in deep space, a 5th one beneath Atlantis, and a 6th one in the center of the multiverse. And as it just so happens, in the center of the multiverse, that's where you have your Rock of Eternity. And it's also the lair of the wizard Shazam. And so now right here, I just got to give credit where credit is due, because last month when I did my video on who will face with a Nightmare Batman, I had a follower, Black Adam Forever, who commented, Shazam's gonna show up and he's gonna save him. And I see him on Twitter quite a bit, but even last month when he was saying this kind of jokingly, I feel like he was serious about it just a little bit. But I really think he may be onto something, because previously Bruce was given a sword from Talia al Ghul that dates back to the early days of nth metal, or really it's more like a dagger instead of a full-size sword. But with us knowing about this dagger and Mr. Terrific picking up these different signals in different locations, it's only natural to tie that dagger to the Rock of Eternity with the possibility of the return of Shazam. But if you guys have been counting, it's only been 6 total so far. Dr. Fate's helmet, the egg, Steel's hammer, Under Atlantis, Deep Space, and the Rock of Eternity, that's only 6. So now when Mr. Terrific figured out the 7th, it was actually located in the Dark Multiverse. And as soon as Mr. Terrific said that, Superman was like, wait, I knew it, it's Batman, he's in the Dark Multiverse, he's alive, I gotta go get him. And that's how back in that tie-in with Bats Out of Hell number 1, that took place in Flash number 33, that's how Superman ended up going back into the Dark Multiverse. Because not only did he have hope that Batman was still alive, but after learning about the different metals, he realizes that Batman is the key, or at least one of the keys that's needed to stop these Nightmare Batman. And I just wanted to mention that again as far as Superman going back into the Dark Multiverse, because I noticed a couple of you guys had questions in the comments of that Devastator video, because some of you were like, well, didn't Dr. Fate and Flash get him out? Yeah, they got him out. And as soon as he found out they were picking up a signal that was potentially Batman, he rushed back in to save his friend out of sheer hope. But aside from that, getting back to the rest of the members of the Justice League, they split up into different locations so they can find the nth metal that was still remaining so they could stop the Nightmare Batman. And now while this is going on, Cyborg, who's being experimented with, he's using what he can that remains of himself to reach out to the Justice League and warn them that these evil Batmen are coming after them now. And not even now, but right now. And this is how they get pulled from all their separate locations and taken to the different Batcaves. And this is done by way of boom tubes that the Murder Machine has created in order to catch these guys that Earth Zero Cyborg was talking to on the comms and drop off the Justice League members in their Nightmare Batcaves. And at the time that this is done, we only see where Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman pop up at. Like, we still have yet to find out where the other members of each group ended up at. But all we see at this point in time are 4 of the League members who correspond with the Nightmare Batman, who created their own Nightmare Batcaves. And each one of the Batcaves, their location corresponds with that Batman and that Flash, or that Batman and that Aquaman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, so on and likewise. And that's where we find the Flash under Central City. Aquaman, he's taken under Amnesty Bay. Wonder Woman is taken directly under the Argus building in Washington, D.C. And we talk more about why she's taken there in my Merciless video. And you got Green Lantern, who's taken under Coast City. So now Green Lantern, I'll probably start with him because I like Hal Jordan. And we see for his challenge in the Nightmare Batcave that was created by Dawnbreaker, he has to face that utter darkness and hopelessness that's dwelling within Bruce Wayne. And what I really like about when we see him about to face Dawnbreaker, like when they first met or even in the caves here, like he'll have his moments when he talks to the Ring like, okay, look, don't tell me what's not registering and don't tell me error. I know you don't recognize this dude behind me. I get that he ain't from here, but I'm gonna need you to help me. And I don't see Green Lantern defeating Dawnbreaker alone. He's definitely gonna need the medals to do that. But as for right now in this Batcave, in this darkest moment, the only thing he has to keep him alive is his willpower and his constructs. Like that is his only fighting chance. And as the Bats Out of Hell series continues within the Metal tie-ins, this is one of the matchups I'm most excited to see. Because in my opinion, a great fight isn't always 2 equal opponents going back and forth with one another, but sometimes it's your underdog who has the grit and tenacity to fight back and stand to the end against odds where most people thought that person would have been wiped out. And I really feel that way about Green Lantern going against Dawnbreaker, because Green Lantern has always been at his best when we see what sheer willpower can do or where it can get you against impossible odds. So with Green Lantern, that's definitely the fight that I want to see. But what we get so far in Bats Out of Hell number 2, or part 2, which is Justice League number 32, the dialogue that we get so far between Bruce and Diana right here is crazy. Like Robert Venditti, I think it was, wrote this one, and just the dialogue that he gives them where they're talking and Bruce is sharing memories that he shared with Diana back in his Earth in the Dark Multiverse, and how he claims that Diana was much tougher than Earth Zero Diana, mainly because fighting so long in that war against Ares. But it's crazy, and like she even does moves on him that she swears Batman shouldn't know. And she tells the Merciless, I would die before teaching someone like you those moves. And he just turns around with this chilling look and says, you did. But what we also see in the Batcave that the Merciless designed for Wonder Woman is that he has a display of countless relics that he's collected kind of as a twisted gift from him to her, but also set up in a way as a symbol of intimidation, because there's also an armory filled with weapons of other gods that he's killed. And the craziest piece of this collection is this huge coin that he had melted, or better yet forged, from the coins that are collected by the ferryman from the River Styx. And for you guys who aren't familiar with that, like when Amazonians die, they're buried with coins so they can take to the river and pay the toll to cross over in the afterlife. But the Merciless ordered the ferryman at the River Styx to collect all the coins, and he just melted them all into one big ass coin with his face on it. And that way, every dead Amazonian at the time who was seeking passage into Elysium, they never made it through. So when he hit the coin with his hammer, all of them were summoned and attacked Wonder Woman in a real crazy zombie-ish looking kind of way. And really all they want is to go home. But with the Merciless taking this approach and attacking her this way, it really leads me to believe that in this matchup, Wonder Woman can take the Merciless. Because if he was able to defeat her hand to hand, he would have done that. But instead he calls for backup because as it seems, she's too much for him to handle. And so now with Aquaman, man, it doesn't get much worse. Cause y'all remember his girl Mira, right? Red hair, real pretty. Yeah, she let herself go, man. The Drown converted her into one of those aqua monster thingies, made her a part of her army, the Drown, and Bryce is making Mira attack Aquaman. And it's crazy because it's not like Aquaman could just slay this beast, but this beast is his love. And it's already been established that Aquaman's telepathic abilities do not work on the Drown's creatures or any member of Deadwater. And this puts him in a predicament where he's got to figure out not only how to stop the Drown, but how to save Mira at the same time. And so now last but not least, like I mentioned earlier, Barry Allen, he's under Central City. And in the Red Death's Batcave, he has it set up like an hourglass, so he has unlimited time to chase Barry. And all Barry can really do is just stay in front of him. At least that's the plan initially. And since Red Death is the Batman who likes to run over people, Like, we are really making up new names for these Batman. Devastator's the Batman who thought it through, and Red Death is the Batman who loves to run over people. But either way, this is when we get introduced to the Flashmobile. And seeing this really puts in perspective one of the most dangerous things about Red Death. And what's that most dangerous thing? Well, first and foremost, of course, that he's Batman. But the one thing that makes Batman dangerous or a formidable opponent to anybody, that's his preparation time. So just put together the fact that Batman is a speedster. And everything that would take him months to prepare for, he can take care of in a matter of seconds. Which is giving him more than ample time not only while Barry was in the cave, but even during that small window of time that the Nightmare Batman had been on Earth Zero. But what also is crazy is that Red Death tells Barry, "I've killed the Flash before. It was a different Earth, but it was you nonetheless." And Barry inside of him was like, "Dude, I can hear you, man. I'm still here." Like, that hurts, Bruce. Like, that was right in the feels, man. Like, you just gonna take my Speed Force and now I'm just dead, huh? Poor Barry. But either way, we got Earth Zero Barry, who hasn't been taken out yet, but he's forever running in his hourglass contraption trying to stay alive. Like, it's crazy. But that'll do it for this one, guys. I mainly wanted to talk about the introduction of the Batcaves, because at this point in the Metal series, that's all we have, just an introduction to the Batcaves. But I also wanted to do a bit of backstory before jumping into that, so you guys will also know how they ended up there in the first place. But let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear some of your theories about how these guys are going to get out of this, or even if some of these guys are going to get out of it. And what I'm probably going to do is a separate video talking about Cyborg, because as he said, he's pretty much the secret weapon of these Nightmare Batman. But like I said, that's it for this one. I got playlists up so you can check out my Dark Knights Metal videos. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Alright, later.